Good day, my name is Joe, and this is the first in a series of tutorials on Hypertext Markup Language 4. There are several different versions of HTML. The most common one in use today is HTML4. The world is transitioning to 5, but there are a lot of differences. So we'll stick with 4 as our introduction. It should be easiest for everybody. And then you can go on to 5 later. I'll probably have a series of videos about that too. For these demonstrations, I'll be using a web editor called Bluefish. My reason for selecting Bluefish is because primarily it's free, so anybody who sees the video should be able to acquire the same editor that I am without having to incur any expenses. And it's available for all the major platforms, Linux, Mac, Windows, and what have you. And all the instructions are on the website. The URL is displayed on your screen now, so you can go there and get Bluefish for yourself. Or if you prefer, you can use any web editor that you like, or if you're a diehard person, just open a text editor and use the force. You'll notice that I'm not using Windows. For anyone who was curious, this is actually Linux Mint 14. I used to be a diehard Windows user, I'll admit it. But after Windows 8, I don't know, I think Windows is dead. It's wrong that Linux looks more like Windows than Windows does. Microsoft is crazy. But that's just my little Microsoft rant. Oh, by the way, HTML has a rich and diverse history. If you're a history buff like I am, you're welcome to click on the button that you see on the screen. And I have a little bit of reflection as to where all the technologies from HTML come from and how we ended up where we are today. Okay, so let's create our first HTML document. I'll just call mine Lesson 1. It's important to put in the right extension. In this case, I'm going to put the extension .html. That way, the programs that are associated with that extension know to automatically try to process it when I click on it. For Windows users, if you don't know how to, because Windows by default will hide this from you, how to set this extension, I'll go ahead and I'll show you how. You'll see a button on the screen. If you click on that, I have a tutorial just for Windows users. Okay, so let's click on this and open up our Bluefish editor. The first thing in any document we have to do is declare what kind of document it is. That way the web browser that processes it knows what kind of rules to apply to it. So that's why we have a document declaration. Declarations begin with an exclamation point. Oh, and anytime we're doing things where we're sending information to the browser, we're normally doing it inside these angle brackets. So I'll just say doc type, all in caps, and I'll go ahead and put HTML. Then I close my angle bracket and presto. So now, when the browser reads this, it will know this is an HTML document. Well, there's nothing to process at the moment, so now we need to put in some HTML. We start by, again, opening the angle bracket, type HTML, and then close it. Now notice that Bluefish, added a second HTML tag. Here, let me hit enter a couple of times. It's not clear, but the cursor is sitting here, so as I hit enter, it pushes this down. Those two tags highlighted themselves, showing that they're a pair. So it says HTML, HTML, but notice that this one has a slash. This indicates that this is a starting tag and an end tag. And this is normally what we're going to see in HTML. Just about everything has a starting tag and an ending tag. There are a few exceptions. You know, the declaration is a tag all by itself, and it doesn't require an end. It's an end to itself because there's just one. Now we need some data for our web page. So we can use our traditional standby. Every programming class usually begins with a program called Hello World. So I'll save that. Now I can open this with whatever web browser we have on our computer. And here we go. Hello World. Of course, that's all we told it, so that's all it displays. Let's go ahead and we'll put in a little bit more. Normally, web pages are broken down into two major areas, the head and the body. Predictably, head means header. You know, it's got the information about what the page is, what it should contain, things of that nature. Now for today's lesson, the only head tag that we're going to worry about is called the title. And when we talk about tags, tags can be nested. That means one tag inside another. If you've ever heard of the Russian nesting dolls, where it's one inside of another, that's what this is. So I'll just indent. It makes it easier to read. And just type head. Again, Bluefish automatically fills in the ending tag for me. If you're using another editor that doesn't, you'll have to write it by hand. I always like to tab so that each nested level has its own tab to make it more readable. And I'll just type title in here. Whoops. And let's see. So I'll just call that lesson example 1, and I'll save it. Now notice over here, whoops, oh, I have to click the right button. Since there was no title before, the web browser automatically picked up the name of the file. But once I hit reload, now that there is a title, it prefers to use the title that I provided. So it's up to you to have whatever title you want on your web page. The next area that we want to put together is the body. That's normally where all the information that is displayed to the user goes. Now Bluefish, whoops, would happily fill in the ending tag here for me, but I'll do it myself because I want Hello World to be inside there. Again, as you can see, the tags are related and they're a pair, so Bluefish highlights them for us, showing both of these red tags are related. And the slash indicates the end. Here we see that the two are connected. You can even roll them up. So if you had a whole bunch of these on the screen and you're trying to concentrate, you can kind of roll up, kind of like rolling up the shades to concentrate on a certain area without having to look at other things. Now, although Hello World is within the body, it's still not really properly formatted. This should be a paragraph. So we can use P to indicate a new paragraph and /P to indicate the end of a paragraph. Now this is important, and I'll show you why. Here, we'll copy Hello World with the paragraph. Oh, also here I'll show you this. I can put spaces between here. I can ignore the spaces. HTML doesn't care. When the page is processed by the web browser, they're all treated as paragraphs, and they all look nice. Now, if you're seeing what the paragraph tag does, you may be wondering, what happens when you don't have that? Well, here, we'll try that. Here, and we'll space some of them out. Again, save it, and go over here. Remember, the page doesn't display your changes until you hit reload, because it processes it at the time that it loads, wherever it loads from. In this case, we're loading from the hard drive. So I hit refresh, or reload. Hello World all over the place. Even though I have carriage returns, those are ignored because I didn't declare that these are the beginnings and endings of paragraphs. So it just strings it all together as one mountain of text. That's why paragraph tags are important. And that's the basics for this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll cover some new tags, and we'll keep going through them until we've gone through the entire HTML tag reference, which is how we refer to all the tags that there are. Enjoy.